You ever do that thing where you decide to completely change your life? You make these giant, ambitious goals, but then a few weeks later, poof, you're right back where you started. It's so frustrating, right? And it really makes you wonder.
I mean, why is it that some people just seem to have it all together? They move through life with this calm energy, this incredible focus, and it doesn't even look like they're trying that hard.
It's easy to look at them and think, oh, they're just lucky, or they were born that way. But here's the thing, it's not luck.
And it's definitely not about those huge dramatic gestures. The overnight transformations we see in movies. Real, meaningful change, it just doesn't work like that.
The real secret? It's actually in something much, much smaller. Almost invisible, really. It's the power of tiny, quiet habits. The ones you do consistently, day in and day out. That's what reshapes everything. So, let's dive into how that works.
Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. We're going to break down 3 amazing Japanese philosophies for a better life. We'll talk about growth with the 1% rule, balance with the 80% rule, and resilience with something called the golden rule. And then we'll figure out your first tiny step to get started.
All right, first up, growth. This one is for anyone who's ever looked at a huge goal and just felt completely overwhelmed. It's like standing at the bottom of a giant mountain, especially in the crazy, hyper-productive world we live in.
Well, there's a really simple but powerful Japanese idea for this. It's called Kaizen. The whole concept is to focus on these continuous, tiny improvements every single day. You stop chasing that one massive sudden change that, let's be honest, your brain is probably just going to fight you on anyway.
So how tiny are we talking? Just 1%. That's it. Think about it. One tiny, totally achievable step forward each day. Your brain absolutely loves these easy wins. A 1% improvement is so small, your mind doesn't even put up a fight. It just slips right past all that resistance that usually kills our big ambitions. And here's where it gets crazy. That 1%, it doesn't just add up, it compounds. So getting 1% better every day doesn't make you 365% better in a year. No way. It makes you almost 37 times better. That is the magic of small, consistent habits. They build on each other. While those big, grand plans, they usually just fall apart.
So the key takeaway here is this. It's not about cramming everything in or these heroic all-night bursts of effort. Your brain gets smarter and stronger from consistency, from that daily practice. Kaizen isn't about how big the change is. It's about the simple act of showing up every single day.
Just like these small habits can reshape our minds, they can do the exact same thing for our relationship with our bodies. And that brings us to our next big idea, finding balance. So in Okinawa, there's this saying people often use before a meal, HARA HACHI BU. It's basically a reminder to eat until you're about 80% full. Not stuffed, not feeling heavy, just satisfied. It's such a simple but powerful way to switch from just eating on autopilot to actually eating mindfully.
I mean, think about it, right? Our world is all about endless to-do lists and notifications buzzing at us. So often we just eat without thinking. We finish what's on the plate just because it's there, or we eat to deal with stress. That's autopilot eating. HARA HACHI BU is the total opposite. It's intentional. It's about tuning in and listening to what your body's actually telling you. Listening for physical satisfaction, not just emotional comfort.
And that really gets to the heart of it. This isn't some new fad diet. It's not about restricting yourself or counting every single calorie. It's actually a mindfulness practice that's just disguised as eating. It's a way to get back a moment of peace and show some respect for your body in the middle of a crazy day. Okay, this brings us to our last habit, and honestly, it might be the most profound one of all. This one isn't about growth or balance. It's about what we do when we feel broken.
This is such a powerful concept. We're all taught to hide our scars, right? To put on a happy face and present this perfect, filtered version of our lives to the world. But what if those cracks? What if the moments that broke your heart? The times that totally shattered your confidence? What if those are actually where your greatest strength comes from?
This whole idea comes from the Japanese art of Kintsugi. See, when a piece of pottery breaks, they don't just throw it out. They meticulously repair it, but they highlight the cracks by mending them with gold. The final piece is seen as even more beautiful and valuable because it was broken. And of course, Kintsugi isn't really about pottery. It's a metaphor for your life.
So how can we apply this to ourselves? Well, first, you have to acknowledge the breaks. You can't pretend they didn't happen. Second, you stop trying to hide them. Then, you repair those cracks with gold, which is really the wisdom, the patience, the resilience you gain from the experience. And in the end, you become stronger and more beautiful, not in spite of what happened to you, but because of it.
Wow, so we've covered a lot, right? Growth, balance, resilience. But look, all this knowledge is pretty useless if we don't do something with it. So let's bring it all together and figure out your first tiny step.
So let's do a quick recap. For growth, you've got Kaizen, just improve by 1% every day. For balance, there's HARA HACHI BU, listen to your body and stop at 80%. And for resilience, you have Kintsugi, honor your past and turn those scars into strength.
Look, if you only remember one thing from all this, please let it be this. Massive, lasting change doesn't come from some giant leap. It comes from tiny, almost invisible habits done quietly and consistently day after day. That's where the real power is.
You don't need to fix everything at once. Seriously, just pick one thing. So I want to leave you with a question. Thinking about everything we've talked about, what is the one tiny habit, the one quiet upgrade that you're going to start today?